Hello Stinks and welcome to episode 22 of Minecraft Through the Spyglass. I really tried my best to think of things left to do in the 1.4 section, but I simply could not. I do feel like we are moving a little faster than I would like through these updates, but that's okay because it just means we are closer to more intricate builds and stuff like Elytra. Anyways, let's jump into the 1.5 update and the new stuff that it brings. So, 1.5, or the Redstone update, was introduced during a Minecon in 2012 by the MCPC team. It includes activator rails, block of redstone, daylight sensors, droppers, hoppers, comparators, trapped chests, weighted pressure plates, nether quartz ore, block of quartz, chiseled block of quartz, a quartz slab, quartz stairs, nether bricks, nether quartz, minecart with hoppers, minecart with TNT, and also minecart with spawners. Other changes include mobs no longer being able to walk over rails, slime spawning is dependent on the moon phases, zombies will now group up on targets, they also catch the player on fire if they attack while also being on fire, annoying. Beacons also gain an increase in the effect radius. Lava flows faster in the nether and has a new texture. Bone meal no longer automatically grows items to the final stage and instead has a % chance, also annoying. Don't get me wrong though, I appreciated all the effort the Minecraft team put into the swiftness of these early updates. Now let's jump into our own world where I've decided to do things a little different than we're used to. So if you've seen any of my intro videos before, even if you haven't, I suggest you go watch them and come back. Normally with these, I would start by building our mega base for the section. So we are in the 1.5 area, but I've decided that instead of starting with a mega base, we are going to start with the unobtainables. Now this is mostly due to the fact that the mega base that I want to build will include an item that's not yet implemented into the game, which is quartz. So, like I said, we're going to start by going through the versions, getting the unobtainables, and then coming back to build our mega base. Now the first unobtainable for this version is a difficult one, and it kind of just depends on the weather. I kind of have no choice on whether or not we get this, but in this version, whenever a pig gets struck by lightning, it obviously turns into a zombie pigman, but it spawns with no weapons or tools, which technically is an unobtainable because in later versions, obviously you cannot collect that. So what I'm going to do is grab us a spawner, place it in the middle of our section with some fences around it, and I guess just hope that it gets struck by lightning, and obviously that is subject to changing, seeing as how it might end up being that we need a couple spawners in the section, more than just one, depending on how many pigs it spawns per spawner. Let's make some fencing here, and then we'll make a gate, and let's go place this spawner down and see if it spawns more than a group of 3. Now, like I said, this is dependent on the weather, and I'm pretty sure that this still works as the same in newer versions where the more nights that you stay up, the more likely you're going to get a thunderstorm, so we are going to have to stay up through the night. That shouldn't be too bad. I'm pretty sure I've been doing it pretty frequently, so we'll just have to kind of be careful and wait these nights out. But while waiting, there are some other unobtainables that we can get in this version that we can kind of work on while we work on this. So this is going to be like a background thing. Let's see if I can map this out with the appropriate amount of fencing. And then we'll just put down our pig spawner. And 3... Oh, nope, just 1 spawned. So we'll have 1 spawn. And then maybe if we move this guy away from it, it'll spawn another one. Look at him looking up at the sky, just waiting to be struck. There's another one. So we're just going to have this going and spawning pigs. If it doesn't spawn enough in a quick enough time, I do have carrots we can breed with, and I can also grab more spawners, but I'm not too concerned about it. I'm sure we'll have enough whenever the time comes. I also just now thought about the fact that we don't have name tags yet, but I think because these guys will be bred that they won't despawn, hopefully. But if that's the case, I need to get rid of the spawner. Or maybe it's just that like pigs that are struck by lightning maybe won't despawn. I'll have to look that up because it would really suck to go through the effort to get this guy and then him despawn. Alright, so while those piggies are doing their thing, we are over here at the Unobtainable Museum for our next item that we're going to get. And in this version, if you put a chest here and then put your stone in these spots here, you'll get this odd WIP, or work in progress, which is one of the only times that you'll see this, and it's for the new hopper that they put into the game. And obviously this is much cheaper than in later versions where all of the places that a stone would normally go, you would have iron. So it's 5 iron per each hopper. And so one of the things I'm going to be doing is collecting a bunch of these because I have a ton of extra stone in storage. What I really need this for is for kind of a weird unobtainable. It's one that is unlike the ones we've done so far, and that is with brewing stands and furnaces. I actually forgot to make those, so let me make some real quick. What I'm going to do here is place this guy down and then shift click and place this on top of it. And I haven't tested this yet, but essentially what should happen is add items like this inside of it. You'll notice it goes into the finished section of the brewing stand. Now obviously if I were to just try and place this, it won't allow that. And it also shows that we have potions in the brewing stand. As you can see here, it looks like there's potions in there, but obviously it is just the items that we put through the hopper into there. It's pretty cool, but one thing I don't like about these types is that you cannot really display it. It's just gonna have to sit like this. And also there's a million different combinations you can make. So I could put slime balls in the bottom, I could put cactuses in the bottom, I could put iron bars in the bottom, I could put whatever I want here in the bottom. And right now there's already well over 50 plus items I could put into there. But I think it would be funny to do items that would normally go into this part of the brewing, but place them down here. Now, if it wasn't already obvious, we're gonna try this with a furnace. Let's do a saddle first as what we're smelting, then sand as our fuel, and that is going to create an end portal frame. So kind of another cool one here where there's items that normally you wouldn't be able to put in these sections of the furnace, but obviously the hopper overrides that and goes ahead and puts them in those spots anyways. So the same issue with the brewing stand occurs here where it's kind of hard to decide what to put in these, and I don't want a million furnaces in our unobtainable museum kind of just sitting around. What I might do is go ahead and add maybe 2 or 3 more of each with random things in, and then later if we don't want them we can remove them, but that way I have them just in case. So in this one we have glowstone cactus and iron bars as the finished potions. Over in this guy I did glowstone as what we're smelting, and we're using a potato for the fuel, and that's going to make us a golden apple. Over here I did an apple and then a hopper and a brewing stand as the finished items in this brewing stand. And lastly we'll be using stone as a fuel source to smelt wood planks to create a furnace. And actually I'm going to switch this out. I want to use bottles as the item that's being smelted. So now we have that. So I put 1 of each basically on each side here. And like I said, these may not stay for the entire duration of the unobtainable museum. We might switch it up with something else. But for now, I think that's a pretty cool place to put them and pretty cool things to put inside of them. We are still waiting for it to rain, so I'm going to go ahead and breed these guys again. And then while I wait, I'm just going to spend that time collecting wood in order to make more of these work in progress hoppers to save myself some time in the future whenever I'm sure we'll need it. Okay, y'all, I got about 4 to 5 stacks of work in progress hoppers, and it finally started thundering. I've been sitting over here for a while. As you can see, I've just been breeding up these pigs and I also let them out of the fence because I thought about it, and it really doesn't make sense to keep them all in one location, seeing as how lightning wouldn't has less of a chance striking them if they're all in one location. So I've just kind of let them free roam in this section. This is the first thunderstorm that I've had. It's been like, I'd say at least 10 Minecraft days, if not more, waiting around. So we're just gonna keep breeding these guys, and then hopefully thunder will strike. So just like that, I truly did not expect it to be this quickly. But this guy did just get struck by lightning in front of us. I can't believe we actually saw it too. So we're gonna try and get him in a enclosed space. And like I said, I don't know how the despawn is gonna work in this. I'm just hoping that this guy kind of just hangs out here, doesn't despawn. I've also got to figure out a way to trap him. I wonder if we keep him in a minecart, if maybe he won't despawn. And then what I might do is make a backup of this from this point. And I'm also just going to kind of wait this thunderstorm out and see if we get any more. Alright, so I've waited for the complete cycle of the rain, and we got one piglin, which I did check on this guy earlier, and I only saw pig's feet. I did not see the piglin feet, and I thought for a second that he had changed back into a pig, so I got a little bit nervous. Okay, a couple silly little things. I did save the world to try and make a backup, and when I reloaded it, the piglin did despawn. And so then I was like, well, let me go ahead and go into a creative world and test some things out. And I looked up how to keep a mob from despawning without name tags, and allegedly you can put them in minecarts and they should stay in the minecarts and not despawn. So I was like, well, that's perfect, we'll just do that. Tested it out, and for some reason if you save and quit a world that has something in a minecart, it sometimes glitches the mob that's in the minecart under the ground, and then they just walk out of the minecart. So really there's no way to keep the piglin. So truly and honestly, there's not even a way for me to keep the piglin with no items in its hand, which is unfortunate. With that, I guess we'll go ahead and move on to the next unobtainable, which is going to require us to go ahead and update our world to 13W11A. So we've loaded up 13W11A, which is a snapshot directly after the official release of the 1.5 redstone update. Why I've actually updated is so that we can get our last obtainable for 1.5. So the first thing that we actually have to do is grab ourselves a looting or luck of the sea item and or book, and then get silk touch and place it on the same item that both of those are on. So what I'm going to do is probably spend some time on a sword and a fishing rod to get looting and or luck of the sea, and then combine that with silk touch. So let me come back once I have everything ready to go. So a couple more silly little things. Luck of the Sea has not been introduced to this version. So what we're gonna do is only gonna have looting and silk touch on the same thing. I spent some time re-rolling enchants, and it took a long time to get these. So I've got the silk touch and the looting. And so what we're gonna do is come down here and create a new sword, grab us some diamonds to make a new sword, and then let's fortune these guys. I've had pretty bad luck with my fortune, and still do apparently. So we'll make our sword. And now I have quite a few anvils in our pig spawner room, so I'll use those to do this, and then we can place it in the unobtainable museum. Alright, so up here we've got our anvils, and it should be, you put the looting first, the silk touch second. Oh, I don't have the levels. Let me get the levels real quick. Okay, so we've got our 10 levels to create this, and then we've also got to get our levels to put it on the sword. Oh! Are you kidding me? It took me so long to get these books too. Well, it looks like I'm going to have to Get more levels and try again. Alright, so I did triple check on a creative world to make sure that this would work. And on the creative world, it allows me to just put it directly on the sword, so I'm not sure why it's not letting me do it here. So what I'm gonna do is put the sword on first and place the looting on it first, which I need 9 levels, so let me get that real quick. Okay, so we've got 13 levels. Let's put the diamond sword in first, then our looting, and then our silk touch in. And it's not gonna allow that either. I'm not sure why this doesn't work, because like I said, in the creative world that I have, it works perfectly fine, but for some reason in this world it's not allowing me to add it to it. So I guess what we might do is just keep the book, because I mean the book technically is kind of like the unobtainable. Just to show you guys that I'm not crazy, I'm in the same version that I was in the other world. I've got my anvil, and then I search up looting and silk touch, and let me actually grab 2 of both of these new swords, and I can do the diamond sword with looting and then with silk touch, and it allows that. And I can also do looting, silk touch on the same book and put the sword in there, and I can do that as well. So I'm not sure why I can't do it in survival, and it does make me curious if I can go in creative in the survival world, create one, and then give it to myself, because I think that should work. So I am just going to try it just for the sake of seeing if this works. So I went ahead and opened it up to LAN, and now I'm in here with my creative account. And this account, which I've been working on, has never gone into creative, but the one that I'm on right now is in creative. So let me search up looting and silk and a sword, and then put this guy in there. Right, so it works in creative, so I really don't know why it's not working in survival. So what I'm going to do is I'll create one of each of the swords in creative. These are simply for the unobtainable museum, because it should be working. I'm not sure why it's not working, and it doesn't go towards any sort of advancement on the world itself. And I have spent quite a bit of time collecting the levels and the enchantment books required to do this, so I would really hate for all that to go to waste. So it's almost as if I had done it in survival anyways. So there's one of each, and then I'm going to go ahead and give it to my other account here. And now back on this account, we have all the swords with the enchantment on it, and now I'm going to go place these in the museum. Alright, so here we are down in the unobtainable museum, and this is another thing that's going to end up in a chest, which I really hate the ones that are in chests. They are just boring looking to me. And if we get enough to completely fill in this circle that aren't in chest, I might end up moving the chest into a separate section. But for now, we're going to place this down, place in all of these guys, and I'm going to include this book that I created with looting and silk touch on it. And I think that is going to be it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.